Garrett Blevins here with an overview of weeks 4 and 5 of the Cube Predator. As some of you may know from my last video, I was out of town working on my master's. I was in Kansas City and had a really good time out there. Had a lot of good food, good barbecue. In fact, I actually came back and weighed myself, and I was up 10 pounds. I weighed 235 when I got home, so I guess I finally figured out how to gain weight when traveling. Eat a bunch of barbecue and shakes and hamburgers. But the gym out here, this is a Gold's Gym out in Kansas City, and it was a really good facility. They were really accommodating. They did give me, hassle me a little bit when I was deadlifting, asked me to put it down softer, but they didn't kick me out, so all in all, pretty good. Bench press, you're going to see two of the workouts from week 4, but both of the workouts from week 5 I didn't film. Bench has been feeling really good, probably due to the weight gain. Even weights in the 400s have been feeling pretty good. Deadlift was really difficult out there. 1, because I had to let it down softly. 2, because the bar was extremely smooth. It had almost no knurling at all. And so it was really rolling my hands a lot, and I wasn't using chalk either, so it was pretty difficult. However, I worked up here. This was the heaviest I worked up to. It was a double with about 617. They had kilo plates out there, and so that kind of made it a little different. I walk away from the weight after my first rep and decided, you know what, let's go for 2. Was able to get it. I really wanted to do a triple with it, but my hands were slipping so much. It was just really tearing up my hands. In fact, after this, I tore a callus pretty deep in my left hand, and actually just did 2 days of squatting to even it out, and did deadlift. You'll see the last deadlift workout later in this video. Here you'll see some sets with, this is 409 for singles. This is relatively lightweight anyways for me. I actually would have liked this to be a little faster, but it was pretty good. And I did do 1 triple with 409 that I did not record, which went pretty well, as well as some singles with 427, and those also went really fast. Here you'll see an AMRAP set. I think that's right about 365, 370, and I was able to do some pretty good rep work as well. Low bar squat form is still a work in progress. I'm having a little bit too much butt wink at the bottom, and so I'm going to start playing around, maybe going back to some of my Olympic shoes. But my form wasn't terrible. Just need to keep working on it. I believe this was right around 550 or so. I think because those are kilo, those are 44-pound plates. And then I went up to about, or maybe this is about 570. I did it for a triple and then a double. So not rep PRs, but I think the highest I've gone is 585 for 3. And these reps really felt pretty easy, especially since the squat platform I had to use had to really duck down to start the squat, about 3 inches lower than usual. But had a good time out there. This was my workout after I got back from flying back out to San Diego from Kansas City. And my deadlift form has been really off lately. It's been really difficult, but these reps really felt pretty good. That was a good rep of 585 right there. This is 605. I am using straps. As I had mentioned, I tore a callus, so I'm trying to protect my hands for a couple weeks, let them get better. And I was planning on doing a double with this, but it felt pretty good, and so I just decided to do an AMRAP set with 605. And this was a PR for me, primarily because I haven't tried to do it before, but was pretty happy with it. You'll see in my starting position, holding the bar and then sinking down into it, I'm keeping my shoulders forward, but I'm packing the lats. I'm rotating my shoulders down, but also not all the way back like you would in a bench press. I'm not retracting my shoulder blades. I'm more packing the lats down and tightening my chest. I'm also trying to get as upright as possible and wedge my hips close to the bar as I swing in towards the bar. This seems to be the best way for me to get some tightness on the bar before I start pulling, and also to give me a good pulling position and stable spine throughout the pulling movement. So after that set with 605, I decided to put on 635 and do the same thing. And maybe not the smartest thing to do after a airplane trip, but I decided to go for it. I was feeling pretty good this day, even though my back was a little tired and stiff from being in an airplane. The starting position on that first pull, I was a little too far forward in my opinion with my shoulders, but still was a pretty good rep. And got in a little bit better position on the second one, not a whole lot. And then I was about to call it after those 2 reps, but decided to go for a third one. This rep was brutal, really difficult. I blew a ton of blood vessels all through my shoulders and chest. It pretty much just looked like I had red freckles everywhere after this. And it was still pretty good though. Didn't pass out afterwards, which I was happy about, and was able to finish out the workout on a good note. That was also a PR. One of the things that's been on my mind lately, we covered in the classes that I was taking out at the seminary in Kansas City, was how our brains and really our neurology and physiology and even the structures of our brains are formed through patterns of behavior and the environments that we're in. So one of the books we were reading was talking about how taxi drivers have this part of their brain that's associated with spatial understanding, kind of like your ability to know where you're at and how to get other places. And it's highly developed in taxi drivers who have been driving for, a decade or so, much more so than the general population. And this is because they've been training their brain to work in a certain way. Their brain has actually grown, and there is a structural and neurological difference in their brains in this area. And I think this is important, both for powerlifting and for spiritual understanding of formation, is that the patterns that we habituate ourselves in actually have physiological consequences. And I believe that the way you think and the patterns of thinking that you engage in can actually change your physiology. I've joked around before and said that my brain is my strongest muscle, and obviously there's a lot of problems with that statement. But what's true about it is, in my opinion, if you don't think you can do something, you're never going to be able to do it. If you think that you can do something, then maybe you can. And if you decide and make a plan of attack to reach your goals, then you have a much better chance of reaching them than if you have no plan at all. And so anybody out there that's thinking about powerlifting, make sure you have a plan. Make sure that you stick to it and that you're consistent with it. That's the best advice I can give you. So I hope wherever y'all are at, you're doing well. Blessings.